Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And for this video, I want to get back into the nitty-gritty of writing itself. But rather than talking the mechanics of writing, I want to talk about something that I've been seeing a lot of people recently bring up in questions to us from the Harem, and that is, what if I just feel like I'm no good? What if my story sucks? I have no confidence whatsoever in what I'm doing. I want to be creative. I want to write. I want to do amazing things. I want to tell my stories, but I just know it's going to suck. Here's the thing. We've all been there. Everyone has that moment at some point or another. So please, first off, do not feel like you are alone. And because you are not alone and others have gotten out of that situation, that means that there are ways by which you can overcome this hurdle, this mental block that tells you, lies to you, that you and your work are not good enough, that you can't make it. But believe you me, you can. And I hold very much true to what I constantly say, that you need your stories need you, and the world needs your stories. It's a bumpy road to get there, for sure, but that doesn't mean that you can't succeed. Now, on our Discord server, we've actually had this conversation already, but I felt like it'd be good to kind of lift some of that and put that here onto our channel. So that way it's out there for more people. And so we also know, yeah, we have a Discord server. If you wish to be a part of that, well, information is in the description below. But real quick, let's try to quickly analyze, where does this feeling come from, and then let's talk some possible solutions that will help you out. So what I've come to observe by talking with other writers and just being there in the weeds with other creatives here on YouTube, when I was teaching at high school, and just talking with other people, rubbing shoulders both online and in person, it is that there's been a shift of some kind. People have always been a little bit anxious and a little bit worried about sharing their work with other people. That's just natural. But there's definitely a kind of plague over many new creatives where they just believe, they've internalized that their work sucks, that it isn't any good. I believe that it comes from a variety of things. Number one, society has changed a bit. It's not like it once was. When I was in high school, people were willing to share what they've made. People were willing to kind of get out of their comfort zone because people did want their shot in the limelight, in the spotlight. They wanted to be like, hey, this is something cool I can do. I might not be a jock, or I might not be a nerd, I might not be a good musician, I might not be a skater boy or skater gal, but you know what? I've got talents and I want to share them with people. But things have changed since then. On top of that, we have the Pinterest perfection, where we see other people just in such beautiful, concise, fantastic, mind-blowing ways deliver all kinds of goodies and arts and stories and story ideas and videos, and it's become normalized to see this fake perfection. Very, very few people get to a point where they can do something just so wonderfully and beautifully that it basically looks perfect. Many times these things have been doctored up. Do you know how long these people have worked to make that cupcake look amazing? And you know how long someone had to edit to make that one paragraph look absolutely beautiful? It takes time to make this work out. It takes skill. But when it's just presented to us in its end state, without seeing any of the dirty work of how the sausage is made, people begin to think, you know what, maybe there are those who can just make things amazingly their very first try. And I'm obviously not one of those people. When you look at what I write in the first time around, yeesh, look at all the spelling mistakes. And that happens to me all the time. I constantly make so many different spelling mistakes. Sometimes I'm into the 5th, 6th, 7th draft of a book. I'm like, how did I miss this horrible mistake? I should have caught that already. So it happens? We are inundated with this perception of perfection, which is fake. Also, we feel just a little bit more sensitive about the things that we wish to share. On top of that, unfortunately, there is a pervasive bullying element, especially online, where if someone doesn't understand what you're trying to present, or if they don't like you, or if they don't like what you're presenting, they will just tear into you and be absolutely mean about it. And then they can go and they can hide away somewhere else on the internet and not be made accountable for it. And that attitude is now also spilling into life beyond people's computers and phones, where they are treating people like that to their face, and that is incredibly discouraging. So when you add all those things together, wherever you may be personally in your own life, it becomes difficult to find that courage in yourself and say, hey, look, I am going to write. I am going to share what I'm working on because I love it so much. And it's something that, especially if you wish to make writing a career or something that you at least want to do to get out there in the rest of the world and connect with people, guess what? That means your work is going to have to go out there. You are going to have to face criticism. You are going to have to face the fact that you cannot write things perfectly the first time around. The first draft is never the best story that you've written. And so if you feel a little bit plagued by this feeling of, I'm just not good enough, I can't make it happen, well, there are some things that we can at least prescribe to you that we hope will really help you out. My first suggestion is this: take a break. If you need to, take a break from writing. Normally, I'm not a big proponent of this, but if you're worried that the very next paragraph that you write is just going to be awful, you need to step back. If this is eating you up so much that it's crippling your very creative endeavor, then don't write any story that you wish to tell. In fact, just step away. If you know that you do need to write, then write nonsense. I want you to go and I want you to hit your keyboard and be like clackety clack clack, gobbledygook. I don't care what it is just spew out something and then walk away. Then go for a walk, swing on a swing, binge a show for a week, read some books, reconnect with old friends, play a video game, do some painting, anything. Do not work on the story that you believe you can't write well. Once you've taken your break, come back to your story feeling refreshed, renewed, reinvigorated, and try again. Sometimes that's all you need, is a break, a chance to get a breather, and you can come back with fresh perspective, fresh energy, fresh eyes, and you are ready to go again, and it can be amazing. Here's my second recommendation. Take a writing course. Most people in that class that you are going to take are in the exact same boat as you. Yes, they are. Don't think differently. And believe it or not, there are loads of aspiring creatives out there who have worse skills than you. But it's not about them. It's about you getting help, making connections, getting feedback, and most importantly, learning to deal with that feedback. If you want to be an author, you must learn how to deal with criticism. You must learn what is valuable feedback and what isn't. And the only way you learn that is through on-the-job training. My third recommendation for you is this: write a story that you will never share with anyone. Go ahead, do it. Write just for yourself with no pressure if it's good or not, because who cares? You know what? If you are never going to put the story out there at all whatsoever, who cares if every word is misspelled? And the reason why that doesn't matter is because sometimes what's preventing you from writing is that you are fearful of what kind of criticism is going to come your way. So you know what? If no one ever sees this, if no one's there to criticize you, you can write whatever you want. It can be as bad as you want. And what does it matter? The important thing is this, is that you do write. Because as you write, you will improve. As you write, you will learn. As you write, you will be further inspired. And you'll eventually get to the point where you will want to share the better stories that you can create with other people. and your willingness to share will overshadow your fear of negative feedback. My fourth suggestion is this, and this is for some of the more go-getters out there who really want to do something, but again, they just feel that nagging sense of that they will never be good enough, that's going to be awful. Well, let me give you a challenge that you might find rather peculiar with its perspective, and is this: begin publishing a story, most likely online. This is probably going to work out best for you. Begin publishing a story that you promise that you will update at a certain point every single time. Whether that be I'm going to publish a chapter once a month at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, or I'm going to publish a new chapter every week. Whatever it is, you are going to publish this part of your story every single time that you've promised that you will release an update. This is an exercise in holding yourself accountable. You are your own biggest critic and detractor. If you can prove to yourself that you can manage this challenge, you will have taken an incredible leap forward, because you will have proven that nag-saying voice in the back of your head that you can't do this, that yes, you can. And who cares what anyone else has to say about it, because what you're actually focusing on is that you can release those chapters regularly, thereby proving to yourself, I can overcome. Now then, what if you don't meet that goal? The voices in your head would be like, yes, you failed. Screw you. This is where you then turn around, slap them, and say, screw you right on back, because I can make this work. If you fail 1 week or 1 month, you know what? That happens to everyone. Start again. Just because you failed in one part of your goal doesn't mean that you can't pull yourself back on up and deliver again. In fact, it is about learning how to deal with failure. That is how we become better authors. And lastly, at least for this video, and I do take this very seriously, if you're looking at these suggestions, if you're looking at the work that you're doing and you feel just still so utterly depressed, and every time you think creatively you get that feeling, please talk with someone. It's okay to go get help. Now then, this is a channel for creatives done by novice authors. We are not accredited psychiatrists in any kind of way. We can't give any sort of medical opinions that are viable, nor should we. However, we can recommend that if for whatever reason this depression is still absolutely crushing you whenever you try to do anything creative, it is absolutely fine to seek help. There are tons of people out there, tons of organizations out there, tons of people out there who will care for you, who will love you, who will help you along on this journey, so that way you can overcome that feeling. Because if that's the case, it's not anything that you can just simply work your way out of by writing some lines or going out and taking a breather. And with that being said, please understand this, that for all of these suggestions, these are not an instant cure-all to your self-doubts and your worries and your criticism of yourself. There is no cure to poor writing other than to start writing. But please understand this, and this is true for everyone. You are far more capable than you know, but you must choose a solution and see what happens. Try out any one of these things that we've recommended here on this video, or something else to help you out with facing down those fears, those negative thoughts, that inner self-critique that tells you that you and your work are absolutely worthless, that you can't make it. Because you absolutely can. You can do it. But you must choose a solution, and you must be proactive. What I want you to do is this. Once you've chosen a solution, you've begun working on it, come back here into the comments and report back on how you feel once you've done this. And I'm going to say this, focus on how you feel, not on what you've accomplished, not on how well you did. I want you to tell us how you feel, because once again, it's about those negative thoughts and feelings that are holding you back. If you begin to feel more liberated, more positive, happier, that is the critical point, that you're able to optimistically, positively, in a healthy way, confront your creative challenges, that you are excited and energized and pumped, ready to go. You're flowing with creative juices, ready to create whatever story it was that inspired you to do this in the first place. That is what matters. Everything else that comes afterwards is going to be you learning and growing through the process of writing and through the process of editing. You can do it. And if you don't believe me that you can, then I want to steer you towards 2 books that I really enjoyed writing. One of them is Bleed, Steam, and Steel. The other is The Monarch Mercenaries, Autonomy. These are 2 books that took me a long time to write, going through a lot of ups and downs. The Monarch Mercenaries, I had to completely rewrite. I went through so many crazy days and nights of wondering if any of this was worth it. And these books managed to come together. And they came together in such fun, amazing ways. And I have loved sharing them with other people. And if you don't believe me that you can make it through this, I want you to check out these books. Not just because, hey, I'm a starving author who needs the book sales, but because I can promise you this. These books came from the labor of a guy who's been right where you are. And they turned out. And if you think that these books are great after you're done reading them, just imagine how good your stories are going to be. So, with all that being said, y'all, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing. I sincerely hope that you will be able to tackle every single problem that comes your way and that you'll be able to overcome it and become the author and the creative that you want to be. And if you're looking for more reviews, writing advice, analyses, anything, please check out our other videos here on our channel. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.